And we are live-ish. You guys are seeing this live video after the fact, but I was having an interesting consultation with Quita. Now I have a video of her done a real people with real stories before, and a lot of you guys want follow-ups with some of these people, and a lot of you want success stories. But what I want to tell you is that, and even with Quita, she's had so many things go well, which she'll explain what was wrong, what went better, and now how she's stuck. And the thing is, I think that even with me, that your body is an evolution and that people are looking for mathematical equations to feel better right away. And it just doesn't work that way. You might be experimenting your entire life, but we are all new to these low carb diets. We are all starting to wake up and realize how we're affected by EMF. We're by our Wi-Fi routers, by the heavy metals in the air, by the quality of our water, by the way we sit, stand, breathe, think, everything we're affected by, even how much sun exposure that you're getting. We have to be concerned about everything. And in diet alone, like people are like, oh, you intermittent fast? You got a pimple on your nose? Intermittent fast, right? You got an elbow ache? Intermittent fast. That's a bunch of nonsense. Now people are doing high fat carnivore and they're like, I still have problems. I'm like, duh. That's why I do these videos. We've got to navigate around everyone's different issues, and things can change based on stress. Because even with Quita, she was still saying she was having stress. That was one thing we didn't talk about. So when we're done with this, when I put you back into the green room after your real story, I want to talk about stress for a minute, because
Okay.
that's another thing that life is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now in the world. So don't you tell me y'all ain't stressed, because Quita lives on like out in the boonies on a farm. Okay, we all go through stress. So welcome back, Quita. And she's going to. I asked her to do this. She was like, "Oh Lord, have mercy, child. You're catching me always when I'm not expecting this." I said, "Don't worry about it. This I said nobody cares, and everybody just wants to hear what you got to say. So give us a little walkthrough of briefly what was wrong, then what some of the things you did wrong in the fasting and the carnivore and the this, what got better, what are the symptoms, and where you are now, and then I will jump in a few times to keep you on the right track. And what we're gonna do. So give us your real people with a real story.
Okay. I have Hashimoto's. I found that out about 8 years ago. Started to have symptoms. Prior to that, I'd been the healthiest person around, and I started to have symptoms, and I started to try to find out what it was. I ended up I had Hashimoto's and several other different health conditions that maybe were caused by that, and went along with that. Started to research. Um, I have done several different diets. The first one I did was the autoimmune protocol, which is supposed to be for people with thyroid problems, and specifically Hashimoto's. And I had some success with that. I've done keto. I did carnivore. I did the intermittent fasting. I I'm pretty sure that the carnivore and the intermittent fasting gave me more problems than I already had. And that was about, I guess, last May when I had started listening to Stephanie and started realizing, whoops, I'm making things worse here. So I think the carnivore and the intermittent fasting worsened my thyroid symptoms and adrenal problems that I had already, instead of improving them, which was my goal. I was not trying to lose weight. I was trying to heal my thyroid and my other health problems. So in May, I think I had my first consultation with Stephanie, and I was trying to do keto at that time, and I was not successful. Was my biggest issue all along has been sleep. I could not sleep. I could not have deep sleep, and it got way worse when I did the fasting and the carnivore. So under Stephanie's direction, I went back to low carb, high fat, and I did have a lot of improvement. I also developed histamine problems while I was on carnivore that I did not have prior to that. And so those were making my sleep problems worse. And I had a little bit of maybe some gallbladder trouble along the way, maybe not. It was hard to tell. And but things got better on the low carb, high fat. The sleep got better, but I still had a lot of histamine problems. So I guess it was sometime before Christmas last fall, maybe. Um, I had another consultation, and I think we talked live for a little bit, and she put me through Hell Week, which which actually I just did, which I ate a lot of deer meat or venison, and so I just did that for several days in a row and took everything back out, and I was able to see then that avocados were a problem and butter was a problem. I was not eating dairy. I had gone off of dairy. I think the first things I took out in last May was the coffee, um, um, which I was not eating any grains, but the main thing then was coffee. I had to get off of that. So then we tightened things down even further, and I saw that I needed to stay off of the avocados and the butter. So a lot of the histamine problems went away. I was having itching, horrible itching. My eyes would run and then they'd crust over. I had, which I still have, some of those symptoms, but they were all worse than they are now. A lot of sneezing, a lot of mucusy drain. Of course, I've had the symptoms with the digestion. I used to have the carnivore diet I had diarrhea for 6 months on that, and it never got better, never got better. All of those things have improved, but then I kind of got to a point where they improved, but they weren't getting any better. And so I needed to do another consult. And so this time, I was like, where do I go? I've listened to all the videos and I've asked questions. We need a plan. So Stephanie came up with a plan. So now this time we're going to do something else that she came up with. I think we've decided that hypoglycemia is a big problem with me. And so we're going to have to do, very carefully timed eating and spacing out and carefully timed when my workouts need to change. And I need to be careful about, I'm going to stop eating animal fats just for a few days and try the olive oil. And so she's come up with a plan for me to try. And then I'm going to let her know how that goes, because I've tried to put in place everything that she said, but there's still some missing pieces somewhere, and we need to dig down and find it. And like she said, I may be constantly looking and searching, but that's the only way I'm going to find it. If I keep looking, that's the only way I'm going to find it. And so trying something different and changing things up, and I don't know the things to try. And so Stephanie's come up with another plan. So we're gonna see how this goes, and maybe this one will take me. Each one is kind of like finding another piece to the puzzle, because I thought I had reintroduced avocados, and I didn't think I was sensitive to butter, but I was, and I couldn't tell that until I left them out long enough to figure it out. And I had been rotating, but it's just when so many things are causing reactions, it's so hard to pinpoint that one thing or the two things. And maybe there's still more things, but I have to find out what they are. So I needed some direction.
Yes, and thank you. I'm going to go a little bit more deep into some of these things because it's hard to remember it all because we just came from a consultation. I have all my notes in front of me from our consultation. So one of the biggest things was she was waking up. And if
Yes.
you want to mute your microphone because we're getting a echo a little bit.
Okay.
Just
Mute it.
Yeah, just mute it. Oh no, don't turn off the camera. No, come back.
Okay. Let me see.
It says
Oh,
mute.
Mike, I found it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay. So she was waking up a lot at night, and that's really, really frustrating because she went on carbs and she had a significant improvement, but still waking up. So I'm like, okay, is this hypoglycemia? I thought, is this histamine? And then we talked about rice, and she says she doesn't do that well on rice. She's starting to figure out, and I thought, you might have celiac issue. I asked her if she was tested. She said no, she didn't know, and I was like, okay, well, let's just assume that there's a cross reactivity. So I want a lot of you guys to realize that, I've been saying eat a lot of rice. If you have celiac disease and you don't know it, you can cross react where the brain starts thinking that rice is wheat. So we got to take it out. And we're going to add back in red potato. She tried to do parsnip, that's the best one, but she can't find it in her location. So she's looking for red potato and then sweet potato. And then she was like, oh, but I had a lot of oxalates. Sally K. Norton has done a lot of great research. And I was like, well, not everything's an oxalate. And then I said, did you have the green smoothies? She said, yes. And for a while. So I said, okay, let's be aware of the possible oxalate issue. But the point is never to just cut it all out. It's to take it out and bring it in, take it out, because we're designed to eat oxalate rich foods with oxalic acid. So you can have some sweet potato, rotate it between red potato, maybe grow some parsnip. So she could have those as her starches because she's doing better on carbs than on keto. When she does keto, her hypoglycemia, her thyroid, all these symptoms tank. Her body is not ready yet for keto. So as a person who does keto myself, as you can see, I'm not pushing that anymore. I'm not being dogmatic. People who are obsessed with carnivore and fasting and keto, they're like, just this diet, or veganism, just this diet. I'm like, no, we have to see the level of your damage or the way your body responds and see what works for you. So we have her on carbs, but low carb. She may not be, it looks like she's not doing well with rice. Now, she already eliminated butter and avocado because of the histamine response. Now she's doing pork fat, which is great. I had her eat deer because I really wanted to see, because she's living like me in a place where you can get, you know, deer that's eating off the land and see how your body responds to deer meat. Um, then she said that she had the stool is improving, but it's close, right? Things are getting better, but it's not exactly where it's not the banana more a little bit needs to be firmed up a little bit more, but it's sinking, started turning darker in color, maybe sometimes floats. Now, that was her problem on carnivore, my carnivore people. She had loose stool all the time. So carnivore was not working, okay? You got a pain there, carnivore is not going to fix it. You got histamine, it doesn't mean that carnivore is going to fix things, my people. You got to look at every single thing that you stick in your mouth, because even if you're eating meat, I even told her to boil the deer meat for 3 days. Because when you boil it, you get off all the bacteria. Okay, now what I've learned is that zucchini is higher in carbs, but it is less histamine. It seems like a lot of people do well on zucchini. So I say, keep the zucchini going, and cabbage, let's lay low on that. And the avocado, she can do a spoon of avocado, but can't do anything more. So her gut wall is still not strong yet, which goes back to the original introduction of still having stress as well in her life. She goes outside. She lives in nature. She's meditating. She's putting her feet in the soil. She's putting her feet in the water. She's got a red light box. She's doing everything right, my people. So for those who are thinking, oh, she may not be doing this, that, and the third, no, she's doing it. So the body is very complicated. It's not like you do this recipe and you're fixed. She asked me a few times in this, can I do cardio? And I was like, well, you've got hypoglycemia. She's got bad hypoglycemia. Numbers all over the place. I got the numbers here from 64 milligrams per deciliter to 78 to 110 to 120, 85, 90, all over the place. So we started being really picky about the time she needs to eat, work out. Like everything must be perfect to combat this blood sugar destabilization of her blood sugar. So we created a nice little program where she's eating max 2.5 hours. It's more 2 to 2.5 hours. She got to be eating. And then we got to make sure that she's not having a histamine response to the lard. So I had her, and I want her to do a very high quality olive oil because people, even though it's high in salicylates, this is only temporary to see if she can, if any of her symptoms are improving, her sleep gets deeper, and her symptoms of Hashimoto's. Now, the Hashi's thing. So I was looking up if Hashi's, what was it? I can't remember this. Can you go unmute? What was the symptom that we were trying to? Oh, the sleep apnea. That was it, right? Sleep apnea. Because she's like, she's waking up all through the night. Is that hypoglycemia? Is it sleep apnea because she snores? Is it like, what is it? So I was like, oh, we really need to get like that spirulina. Really make sure you're getting vitamin D. Or mm, and I read, I don't know this for certain, that the thyroid can create this issue with sleep apnea. So I was like, all right, let's try this Lugos for like a week. I don't want her to do Lugos. I don't want her to do potassium iodide, but we're thinking she has a sensitivity to seafood and is potassium or so yeah. No, wait, I'm getting it wrong. Iodine. I don't want her to take potassium. No, potassium iodide. Right, that's the synthetic form of iodine. Dine. She can't do seafood because right now, because we're not sure if she's having a histamine. So I said 1 week, people, because potassium iodide is not safe for the long term. She has Hashi's. So we got to find the problem. We got to dig and find. She's doing the mouth taping, like she's doing everything right and still finding problems. So the solution was eat more often. It was take out the lard for a week and add an olive oil to see if any inflammation, because she was having shoulder blade pain, goes down. Um, also, possibly get a spirity lamp, and they're expensive. She's like, I can't afford it. So she's definitely gonna have to be more cognizant and aware of when summer comes. Um, and I think that's the most of them. I don't know. I'm gonna put you. You can unmute yourself if there's anything I missed in the new habit. The types of food, the boiling the food. I think we hit.
Let's see. Well, I wanted to work out first thing in the morning because it seems like I have more energy then. And so you had
You have
said, well, that should be, yeah. So you wanted me to, I was eating a little bit and then working out. So you wanted me to go ahead and eat a little bit bigger meal and wait and then work out and then
and
have another small meal and
exactly.
then later on have a lunch.
Yes, and then
So
have another
yes,
midnight, afternoon snack, dinner, and even a snack before bed because her
yes,
hypoglycemia is so bad. So
yes.
this isn't you guys. This is Quita. You know, all of these recommendations that I gave to Quita may not be your choices. So, you know, be very, very careful to just take her story as little nuances that you have to really be thinking about the in between the lines. There's more to it. She'd done so many things right and was still suffering a little bit. So we've cranked it up to the next level, and I think we're gonna find some good results from this.
And something else to think about is I had hypoglycemia before I started all the carnivore and the intermittent fasting, and now it's way worse. So think about that.
It's worse. That means stop fasting, my people. I'm having internet glitch. Stop fasting. It is just a hype like the cabbage soup diet or the HCG diet. People don't realize what's happening to your metabolism while fasting. And then she did carnivore and had diarrhea for forever. So and her symptoms with everything just either plateaued or got worse. So be careful, my people. Um,
And never did they say stop doing carnivore. They said keep doing it and it will get better. And I went 6 months. It did not get better. It got worse.
yeah. And this is the reason why I do these videos. I'm not trying to be negative Nancy, but I'm trying to inspire people to find their own way because we're all individuals. So thank you, Quita, for this. Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
so awesome. I'm going to put you in the green room. So I don't know if there's anything last you want to say to the audience.
Um, I'm just so glad I found Stephanie because I didn't really know where to go, didn't know what to do, had so much conflicting information and I knew it wasn't working. So I just wish I'd found her 8 years ago.
I appreciate that. That means everything to me. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you. You know that we've talked many times, and we will continue to talk. So thank you, Miss
And
Quiet. I'm gonna put
and
you in.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'll see you in a sec.
Okay.
All right, guys. That's concludes the Real People with Real Stories for today's interview ish. I love Quita because she's not that she wanted to be on camera, but she understands the importance of people learning and getting so easily influenced and confused by what other gurus are saying. That it's life is never that simple, and if it was, we would all have easier lives to live. It's never that simple. Like one thing that people are like, I'm like, what happens when you fast? They're like, you burn fat. And I was like, well, then everybody would be ripped. So no, you don't burn fat, you burn muscle. So just that as an example of how when you learn, when you know better, you can, when you do better, or you know better, you can do better, or when you do better, you can know better. And you can actually impact your life in a positive way. And it takes time. She's still quite still on her journey, but she gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. Y'all gonna get there. Just don't give up. Because she was saying, "Well, can I do cardio like I used to?" Like, and I was like, "Well, you don't have to do cardio like you used to. You can do it for pleasure as long as you don't overstretch the body, because that's what it comes down to. Because nowhere in nature are we gonna be like, unless we're running from a lion. All right. Thank you, everyone. To learn more, go to stephanieperson.com, book a consultation. I have dates open now. You can also go. I also want to remind you that I'm doing a challenge where I'm going to include all three diets. I'm trying to put it together. I'm trying my hardest on how to tie it together because everybody's going to be doing different things. So I have to give out information for three types of people. So when you do this challenge, you will get information on carnivore, keto, and low carb, high fat all at once, right? And then you choose which one you think, which category you think you're going to benefit most from. Now, with that said, you can also find me on Instagram at Stephanie Ketogenic or my Facebook page, which is Stephanie the Business Person. And I'm out. Thank you so much, Quita. And we'll get it. We'll get it. No matter how crazy the world is going to be, us awake people who got our eyeballs open and our ears turned on, we're going to live a great life. And our health is always going to get better. Peace. Energy, energy, energy. 55, almost 56, and I'm out.